Why rejection feels like attraction. Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever liked someone, they didn't really like you back, and instead of losing interest, you somehow liked them more? Like, yesterday they were just meh, today they didn't text back, and suddenly your brain is writing a whole Netflix series about them. Yeah, that. If you've ever thought, why am I more attracted to someone who barely cares? You're not dramatic, broken, or desperate. You're human. And today, we're breaking down why rejection feels like attraction in a way that actually makes sense, feels relatable, and maybe even helps you stop chasing people who don't deserve the cardio. Let's start with a simple truth nobody likes to admit. The human brain is weird, very weird. You can have 5 people who like you, support you, reply fast, and treat you well, and your brain will ignore all of them to focus on the one person who replies with LOL after 6 hours. That person becomes special, mysterious, interesting, not because they are, but because they're unavailable. Here's the hook that explains almost everything. The brain confuses emotional tension with attraction. Read that again. Rejection creates tension, uncertainty, waiting, hope mixed with anxiety. And your brain goes, oh, feelings, this must be attraction. But half the time, it's not attraction. It's stress. Let's use a normal, everyday example. Imagine you order food online. One app says, your food will arrive in 30 minutes. Cool. You relax. Another app says, your food may arrive anytime between 20 minutes and 2 hours. Now you're checking your phone every 5 minutes. You're staring at the door. You're listening for footsteps. Same food, different delivery. Which one feels more intense? Exactly. That's rejection energy. When someone likes you back, things feel stable, predictable. When someone doesn't, your brain stays alert. And alert feels exciting, not peaceful, not healthy, but exciting. Here's the first big reason rejection feels like attraction. Your brain hates not knowing. Humans can handle bad news. Humans can handle rejection. What we can't handle is ambiguity. Do they like me? Did I mess up? Should I try again? Maybe tomorrow? Your brain keeps spinning. And the more your brain thinks about someone, the more important they feel, even if they're not. That's why rejection sticks harder than acceptance. Someone liking you gives closure. Someone rejecting you leaves an open ending, and your brain hates unfinished stories. Think about the last time someone rejected you. Be honest. Did you suddenly start replaying conversations, overthinking your tone, rereading old messages like they were ancient scrolls? Meanwhile, when someone liked you, you probably just said, nice, and moved on with your day. That's not romance. That's mental gymnastics. Now, let's talk about ego. Because rejection doesn't just hit your heart. It punches your ego right in the face. Rejection says, I didn't choose you. And your ego hears, you're not good enough. Even if that's not true. Even if it has nothing to do with you. Your brain doesn't like that feeling. So it tries to fix it. Here's what happens next. Instead of letting go, your mind says, what if I try harder? What if I change something? What if I prove myself? And now the attraction isn't about the person. It's about winning. Rejection turns people into trophies. And suddenly you're not chasing love. You're chasing validation. Let's be real for a second. Have you ever wanted someone less? The moment they became available, they finally text back more. They show interest. They open up. And suddenly you're like, I'm not sure anymore. That's because the challenge disappeared. The tension is gone. And your brain gets bored. Here's where dopamine comes in. Dopamine is the chemical of anticipation. Not happiness. Not love. Anticipation. You get dopamine when something might happen. Rejection creates maybe. Maybe they'll text. Maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe today is the day. Every time you check your phone, your brain is gambling. And sometimes you win. One message, one emoji, one tiny sign of interest. Boom. Dopamine hit. That's why rejection feels addictive. It's basically emotional gambling. Now let's add some humor here. Rejection turns you into a full-time FBI agent. You analyze response times like data charts. You notice when they use hey instead of hey, smiley face. You overthink punctuation. A period at the end of a sentence? Cold. No emoji? Mad. One word reply? They hate me. Your brain is exhausted. Meanwhile, the other person is just living their life. Another big reason rejection feels like attraction: scarcity bias. When something is rare, your brain assumes it's valuable. Limited edition shoes, sold out concerts, unavailable people. Your brain goes, if I can't have it easily, it must be special. But that's not always true. Sometimes it's just unavailable, not deep, not magical, just emotionally closed. Let's talk about childhood patterns for a moment, but in a simple way. If you grew up feeling like love had to be earned through good behavior, achievements, or approval, your nervous system learned something important. Love equals effort. So when someone is distant, inconsistent, or rejecting, it feels familiar, and familiarity feels safe, even when it hurts. That's why calm love can feel boring to some people, and rejection feels exciting. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Rejection gives you something powerful: fantasy. When someone doesn't choose you, you don't really know them, so your brain fills in the blanks. You imagine how amazing the relationship could be, how deep they might become, how different things would be if only. You're not attracted to the person. You're attracted to the story. And stories are perfect. Real people are not. Let's be honest. If the person who rejected you suddenly became consistent, warm, and fully available, there's a good chance your intense attraction would fade, because the tension that fueled it is gone. Here's something important. Anxiety feels like chemistry. Butterflies, racing heart, constant thinking, that's not always attraction. Sometimes it's your nervous system saying, I don't feel safe, but I'm alert. Calm attraction feels steady. Rejection feels intense. And intensity tricks people into thinking it's love. Now let's flip the script. Think about someone you didn't like that much until they stopped paying attention to you. Suddenly, you notice them more, not because you love them, but because your ego noticed the loss of attention. Rejection works both ways. Here's a powerful question to ask yourself. Do I actually like this person? Or do I just want them to like me? Those are very different things. One leads to connection. The other leads to exhaustion. Let's talk about what healthy attraction actually feels like. It's calm. It's mutual. It doesn't confuse you. You don't spend hours decoding messages. You don't feel smaller. You don't question your worth. You feel chosen. And choice feels peaceful. Rejection feels loud. Healthy attraction feels quiet. And in a world addicted to stimulation, quiet can feel unfamiliar. Here's the big takeaway. Rejection feels like attraction because it activates uncertainty, ego wounds, dopamine, fantasy, old emotional patterns. But none of those are love. They're reactions. So the next time someone pulls away and you feel that sudden pull toward them, pause. Ask yourself, is this attraction, or is this my brain reacting to loss? Because chasing someone who doesn't choose you isn't romantic. It's draining. The truth is simple, even if it's uncomfortable. Someone who truly wants you won't make you guess. They won't keep you in emotional suspense. They won't confuse interest with silence. And here's the most important part. The moment you stop chasing rejection, you start recognizing real connection. Because real attraction doesn't hurt. It doesn't make you anxious. It doesn't make you question your value. Rejection loses its power the moment you stop confusing intensity with intimacy. And once you learn that, you stop chasing people who run, and you start choosing people who stay. That's when attraction finally feels like peace, not a problem you're trying to solve,